Hello, and welcome to my art update podcast thingy. Just the usual red flag here. The purpose of this podcast is to update people who know me, Andrew Woolner, about what's been going on creatively for me over the last week. Inevitably, some life updates get rolled into that too. If you don't know me and you've never heard of me, you might not find this podcast very interesting. You're welcome to listen, but you might be wondering why you should care. If this is your first update and you haven't been keeping up with me over the years, I suggest checking out update number 1 to bring yourself up to date before jumping back here. You might also want to check, maybe it's episode 2 as well, which is a year update. So that will actually bring you almost up to date. And you won't be missing too much, I think, jumping the ones in the middle. Although I do some lovely poetry. Well, kind of. Let's see, what else? Right, so I woke up stupidly early today to do my 3-hour commute to my university job where I teach drama to English language majors who don't really want to learn or use English or drama. But, you know, pays the bills. Oh no, it doesn't pay the bills. It pays like one of the bills. I got most of the way there before I discovered that classes don't start until next Tuesday. So what had happened is I've been so busy, I hadn't double checked the schedule before I set out this morning. This was sort of compounded by the fact that April 18th is a really late start for a semester. They usually start, it's really unusual for the semester to start after April 15th in the 9 years I've been doing this. And add to that the fact that I'd mixed up entrance ceremony with start of semester on the school timetable. And that's kind of just, this was sort of inevitable. But anyway, as happy as I am to be at home and able to do some work in a comfortable chair, not at a low desk in the overheated teacher's room, I did blow 3 hours on that mistake because I did not realize until I was already in Saitama. On the upside, I don't have to wait until Friday to write and record this week's episode, so hooray for that. You may have noticed, by the way, drastic changes in sound quality week to week. Aside from the week I recorded on my phone from the theater, this sound quality jumping around is because I'm still fighting with my equipment. I bought a DBX 286 microphone preamp about a year ago, but my mic, which is an RE20, still needed an additional inline preamp to eliminate line noise because it's such a low signal. And then the damn 286S broke on me, I think in January. So now I'm running that inline preamp that I mentioned through my Tascam USB audio adapter, but I'm still noticing some real problems with muddiness on the recording. So when I monitor the input on the Tascam, it sounds fine. When I listen on the PC, it sounds kind of muddy, kind of mushy. I tried switching to a different audio interface, but it causes most of the same problems. I think the signal's a bit clearer, but the problem with that interface is it refuses to work with Zoom. So I'm always plugging back and forth. It's kind of a pain in the butt. And it's weird that it doesn't work with Zoom because it works with everything else. It works fine. It's going along. I can actually open it in Zoom and like set the microphone levels and everything. And then as soon as I open a call, poof, no input from that device at all in any software. Weirdest friggin' thing. So anyway, this sound quality thing, this is going to be an ongoing issue until I have enough time to properly wrestle with it and maybe get some advice from people. Oh, I should probably mute my phone, shouldn't I? That would be a good idea. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, let's get into the updates. YTG updates for this week. Just brief update, Jekyll and Hyde. Obviously, that's done for the moment. But I met up with Marie, one of the 3 other cast members. She's the German performance artist who I probably mentioned in various podcasts, various updates, I should say. Anyway, I met with her yesterday, had lunch. Had some good discussion about the show. I won't get into the nitty gritty there, but had a really good discussion about how we felt it went and like maybe feelings about where we think it ought to go. Like, for instance, I think it should be like more political, like more overtly political. Looking forward. So, and also with Jekyll and Hyde, I'm looking forward to bringing a whole new group and new perspectives into it. And I believe she is too. So that's probably won't be any Jekyll and Hyde updates for a little while now. Updates on the Interregnum. So we're currently in the period between the spring showcase and the summer show. I call this the Interregnum because I'm a fancy pants man and I like using $20 words. I met with the existing interns, Javid and Kevin, yesterday, along with the new interns, Kate and Esteban. And Marie was in the room as well, and Sarah came in over a Zoom call. So we sat down and I listed all the ongoing projects, all the sort of things that we have to get done, sort of in the next, the things that I want to get completed soon. And then people sort of just volunteered for what they thought fit best with their interests and what they're here on an internship for. So the biggest project of all of these is the wardrobe organization project. And I would initialize that, but then it becomes WOP, which let's not call it that. Will probably take a couple of years to complete that project, but the whole idea of this is to get a good base, like maybe figure out what system we're going to use to run the database, how we're going to attach labels to costumes, and the actual like sorting of costumes and labeling them and putting them in containers. That can happen later, but I want to get the sort of the infrastructure kind of developed right now. Because at the end of the day, so storage costs for YTG's costumes and props and stuff are a huge drain. That's basically, I think, the single biggest operating expense that we have right now. And it's, I almost abandoned everything last year when we had to move out of the shed. I almost abandoned it. I almost just thought, well, I'll just leave it for the people at the Yokohama Country and Athletics Club to throw out. Because it costs money to throw stuff out in Japan. If I just abandon it, then I'd be like, they'd have to pay for it and I would be, no cost. I'm not sure whether those costumes and props, like having them is actually economic. Like if I'm spending 130, almost 150,000 a year on storage space rental, am I saving that much per show right now when I'm doing a showcase in the spring and a summer show, and I'm not even pulling all the costumes from storage, right? I'm not even pulling I'm still having to buy stuff because each show is, so different, such a different time period, and we do weird stuff. So but I feel like if we had this organized and in a database, it might make it worth the expense. So we wouldn't have to, we'd sort of have at our fingertips stuff that's available, and we could send someone who doesn't know anything essentially to go and pull stuff out of there if things are labeled and set up correctly. Now, of course, we won't be able to hang stuff in the storage because it's a storage container. We won't be able to hang stuff up, but I'm thinking about everything's in bags right now. I'm thinking about changing to plastic boxes with gaskets on them so they're airtight and putting desiccants in there. So that's the big project. And I believe Javid is taking that on as the leader of that. Obviously, the person in charge of the project doesn't have to do all the work, but they're the ones who are kind of in charge of project management. And we'll see how that goes. We'll be checking in with him next week. We are moving ahead on editing trailers for past YTG shows. That's actually one of the projects as well. So the new intern Esteban has a video editing background, and he's going to start working on that. We'll also start working on mini documentaries to help bolster sort of YTG's profile, but also be able to give people a sense of like how the process works and all that stuff, and hopefully sort of drum up some local interest as well in the company. One of the things on the list, and I don't know if we can do this. This is actually harder to do than anything else, is to develop a proper social media strategy and a social media sort of workflow. The thing that complicates it, and the reason I can't just pass it off to interns to just post whatever, is because everything needs to be bilingual, and so it needs to go through a workflow so that somebody can write the Japanese in. So that's I actually interviewed this past week. I interviewed an intern for next summer, so 2024. And she's a perfect fit. So she's a grad student. She's got a background really similar to the kind of work we do. She's sort of trained all over Europe and done internships all over Europe. This will be her first one outside of Europe. And she'll probably be participating from the fall when we start working on the next project, helping us come up with a theme and planning next year's show. But we'll see what actually happens. I've had a lot of interns say they want to participate before they get here, and then they never actually do. So, but she seems like this is like her main project for next year. So I think that'll be good. Right. Updates on podcasts. I've got two of my interns are starting to edit Miss Charlotte's finishing school for wayward readers. So hopefully hopefully by the end of May, that will be finished. And I've also put out a more public call for a co-host for the Does It Hold Out podcast. So hopefully we'll get some replies for that. Nerd Night updates. I forgot to assign an intern to make the slides. Hopefully I don't have to do that. I can assign that because I'm super, super busy next week. Selena, our good friend as well, but she usually does door for us. She's not available this month. So it's actually good that we have sort of extra interns for the next 2 months. So we'll be able to, well, we can't replace her, but we'll be able to have someone managing the door. I won't have to scramble to find a volunteer for that. Photography updates. This past weekend, I shot the SCC Easter egg hunt. Now, so SCC is a reminder, sharing, caring culture, I think. Sharing, caring communities. I can't remember. They're the NPO that I am a kind of staff member for. I do their big events. I photograph their big events for them, and I also help sometimes plan events. I've also suggested that we have a meeting to do a postmortem on that because they run these lovely events, but they don't really do any introspection afterwards. They don't do what we do with a show, which is to talk about what worked, what didn't work, what we can change, or like what just wasn't effective. Like what are we doing extra work that we don't need to do because nobody really is enjoying that thing that we're presenting. So hopefully that'll happen in the next couple of weeks. Anyway, I've delivered the group shots for them. It'll take me longer to get to the candid shots because I'm so backlogged. I'm still editing the Sakura shoot from a week ago, and I hope to get something today to them, maybe tonight, so that they know I haven't forgotten them. Netflix project update. I start my first of 7 recording days tomorrow, not consecutive days. They're sort of spaced out for between tomorrow and the 24th. Of April. I'm still super, super nervous about it. This is not really like, I have not done anything like this before, and I'm happy that they seem very confident in me, as I think I may have mentioned, I was brought in as a voice actor kind of late in the project after having auditioned earlier. So yeah, I'm a little bit concerned, and it's really hard to practice lines with other people in the house. And I've not had a moment since I received the script where I can actually like look at my script and just do lines and try stuff out. I had a chat with the director on Friday, and he gave me some information because I just felt like I didn't have enough information about the character and what he wanted because I'd missed the earlier sessions. And yeah, so I need to actually try to apply that to the lines and try to just play with that today after I finish recording this. Okay, and there's a lot of shouting too. That's the other reason I can't do it when there's anybody at home. And one of the things, I have to sound young. I have to sound young. So I don't know. How do you do it? How do you sound young? I mean, when you're shouting, I guess you just kind of pitch your voice up a bit. So we'll try that. I'll try pitching my voice up. I'll try pitching my voice up a little bit, kind of like this, and just sounding a little bit more like a young person, like a high school student almost. The character, I think, is early 20s, but I really think they're going for more of a teenager kind of sound. So, yeah, got to work on that. General updates. Yes, I'm still behind on my taxes. I'm still really under a time crunch on basically everything. And speaking of which, no time to yammer on about deeper topics or to do any poetry for you, so I will leave it there. Until next week, then, and we're out.